Just hang out. Okay, so we're on the air.
Yeah. All right.
Where did we go?
Yeah.
There's a bit of delay.
So,
You want to see yourself? No, it's fine. I mean, you want to see yourself 5 minutes ago? No, it's fine. It's not like this is just how it is. It's like they're going to send this somewhere.
Um,
That's good. I think it's good experience.
Actually, what I wanted to do.
Do you want to start or?
See if there's anyone. Is anyone there? Can you tell?
One watching. That's me.
Yeah.
How did they get in? How did they know how to get in?
instructors code.
Oh, right.
Also testing that as well, so you have to write code. And then
Walls it? Two walls.
unit tests. Good unit tests. That's why I'm going for that. I want to see how many people are
I'm here fresh ones.
to remind us
Watching.
So,
So
things change so much. If you even off the wall for a while,
yeah, I think just chat them up and just see if they've done what it's on.
if it all goes horribly wrong, we'll do it again for them tomorrow.
Yeah, okay, but there's people all over.
This just been recorded anyway as a YouTube
Yeah.
video, so
Yeah, so it doesn't.
wasn't cracking at that time, so our lack of power sockets.
Oh dear.
Look, they come out fully charged, I'll just run it there, take it home, charge it back up. And I'm not prepared for work, I think actually it's a good value. It lasts. Class meetings before my power plug to go on the whole day, training on the run, so it's
I really want to do is share. Oh, hey there. I thought you weren't coming.
I changed my mind twice. I wasn't feeling well.
Oh,
so
oh, sorry.
Basically, I decided if you miss the first one, I mean, you get to miss a lot. So at least I can catch up with it later on. Plus, chances are basically most of this stuff we do meetings. So
Yeah, I was wondering.
yeah, I think so. Basically. Mark, have you done any programming on C++
Yes.
using Android?
No.
No.
No. Windows CE.
Because
Unix?
the actual kernel is apparently made on C++.
There is a separate SDK which I haven't played with at all for programming in Android in C++. Yes, I have no experience with it. Obviously, in theory, it means your apps are less portable because there are
Yes.
allegedly there are Intel devices out there. Whether anyone actually uses them.
I mean, the thing is basically, was actually thinking of building a program, and it requires not an activity to generate another activity. So it's self-generating activity.
To generate knowledge, not just launching knowledge.
Not just launching an activity. So you've got a pre-programmed activity.
Yeah.
But what we want to do is basically say if we've got set parameters,
Yeah.
the new activity would use those parameters to come up with and the new activity would be totally different based on those parameters.
Okay. You can't just do this by using a simple activity and dynamically building a view.
It will become really big. I mean, I was thinking of using surfaces. One option was to use surfaces with activity.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, because I'm creating a lot of options,
No.
I mean, sometimes your button could be basically, I mean, the button might not be at a specific location, or you could completely get rid of the button. You could have an index which is basically much bigger and all sorts of things.
I mean, okay. I don't know why you're doing surfaces, but I mean just sticking with going with a straight layout and view, you can easily build that's what you're describing so far dynamically.
You could, but the thing is basically
It's going to be no harder than doing it. If you're doing it by building an activity, you're doing all of that plus building an activity, whereas here you're just building the UI.
yeah. I mean, the advantage of services is they are faster,
So
Yes.
but
but they are more difficult.
yeah, okay, yes.
But on the other hand, I mean, the thing is basically, same example, if I in a programmed layout, you have a button there, but I can't really be without a button and have a button added in by the user.
Yes, you can. Well, you can when you're generating the view.
Yeah.
You can dynamically add used without.
You can add button.
Yep. And then you can. I mean, either you can always have it there, it's used whether it's visible or not, or you can dynamically build up your view as you go.
That's what I want. I mean, can you have the layout where basically this is the same options as you do on the Android Studio. So you can.
But programmatically constructed.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely you can. Yes, and in fact we will look at that in the second lesson. I think.
So
Trying to think. No, we don't. But yeah, it's quite. Yes, I'm not sure we do this. This is a very basic course. What you're saying very much sounds like you know far more than this course is going to take you to already. I think we probably ought to be starting. Sorry for the delays between my inability to control a Macintosh and attempting to get people online who are meant to be joining us in Belgium and Holland. It all doesn't seem to be quite working. So, oh, okay, all right. I guess I'll get some more pizza.
So you're going to cover just the basics there.
All I'm going to do today is do an introduction to the course.
Okay.
How I'm going to facilitate it. I'm going to look at what we cover in the course and run through the first few. So a little bit of the videos at the start of the first lesson. I'm basically going to rely on everyone doing the work on their own, and then over the week, and then we'll discuss how things are going. I'll be available to answer questions online, and then next week we'll review how it's gone, and hopefully between working your own and just asking me questions, there won't be any problems, and we'll all be ready to go for the next lesson next week. But I'll talk more about that in a second. I'll repeat myself. Sorry. Hi there. Good to see you.
Do we need notes or our laptops out?
You may want to take notes, but we're not going to do any programming.
Right.
Yes, so you can take notes whatever you want, and I think all the things you're going to need to know are in links that I've already sent out. But I would, oh. Trouble?
Okay, ready to start?
Yes.
Hi everyone, my name is Omar. Met a few of you. I'm basically the lead for Google Developer Group, Reading and Thames Valley. Well, we've been doing a few events. If you've been regular, you know, we cover stuff from cloud to web to Android development. Really pleased that we're going to be starting this Android Jam course, which is backed up by Google. So it's a Google initiative, and it's run by many other groups like us around the world. There's about 200 something groups that signed up, and the target is 500 to get like 500 groups around the world doing it. And obviously, you know, it's a very good opportunity. You don't have to have any sort of prior knowledge, and it's just a starter course, and you can then take it further and do a mini, as Mark will cover. And I would like to introduce Mark as well. So Mark is our local sort of mobile and web development expert. Shall I say that?
You could say that.
He's basically contracting, and he's been doing this for a number of years. So we are really happy to have him with us to mentor the students on this course. So you've got lots of his expertise and knowledge, and I think I won't take much of your time. Welcome, Mark, everybody. You'll be talking to him quite a lot during the course.
Thanks so much. Hi, yes, my name is Mark Oppenheim. I've been programming for a while now. That's some of us have. I've been doing mobile things for a long time. I'm not an Android expert. I programmed Android for a while, but I'm not someone who knows it in great depth. Whether I know it more than you, I'm hoping I know a little. I know enough to do this course. I'll certainly be willing to help you out, and yeah, just see how we'll see how this goes. The GDG is meant to be. It's a group here that's promoting Google technologies, Google development tools. We all know what Android is. The Study Jam is Google trying to get more Android developers out there. They want as many people to be writing for the Android platform as they possibly can. They know that that's how the war's currently being fought. And it's a useful skill for everyone, whether you're using it professionally or using it as a hobby, or just want to understand what's happening with apps that are crashing around you. This is a very, very basic course. This is going to be an introduction to Android aimed at non-programmers. If you are a programmer, you're still going to learn things, unless you know an awful lot about Android. And I do worry about your questions earlier, Dingdong. You can skip an awful lot of the material if you do know how to program already. Can I just go around and ask? Can you give me your names and tell me what you know, whether you've done any Android programming and whether you've done any programming at all, just so I get an idea of what sort of skill levels we're dealing with.
Okay, fine. I've been programming on Android for over a year.
Yep.
So pretty familiar with Android programming.
Okay. Yep.
Just had, trying to build a new app slightly more dynamic.
Okay.
But basically, seeing some ideas with you.
Cool.
Les Emtage. I've been programming in Microsoft for quite a number of years, mainly VB, some Visual, C++, Objective-C. Got some bits and pieces going on Objective-C.
And if you
generally speaking, electronics engineer.
Yes. Okay. But you haven't done any Android programming as yet.
Did a few months Java with Eclipse.
Okay. Yes.
But I didn't get the show for that.
Okay. Right.
Actually, I'm a C#
So sorry.
C#
Okay, yeah.
And I was working for a couple of years, 5 years. And so basically, give the ABC about the development experience along.
Okay, great.
I'm AD. I've been programming in C# primarily for the last 10 years and got that very similar languages. I've got very little exposure to Java and almost none to Android.
Okay, fine. Oh, well, yeah.
I'm on with Albeit. I use Java, so I've programmed in Java, but I'm mainly like a cloud web guy. Been exposed very briefly to some Android cross-platform development, so just like the resources and things, but not really. I don't know much of the stuff that we cover.
Okay.
I've done lots of development over the last 20 years, many different types. I'm a DevOps architect,
Okay, yeah.
so I do lots of scripting and many different types.
Yeah.
I'm currently working on an Android project. I have been for 6 months, but I don't know anything about Android, and maybe that's something I should do.
Okay, yes.
Hi, my name is Jefferson. I'm a solution architect. I've mainly do my stuff in JavaScript, like the Node.js stuff. I've worked on Java in the past, PHP in the past, a while ago. I've done a couple of like Hello World Android apps, but nothing too much past that. So I'm just trying to push it along, and I think a couple of my colleagues from Weybridge probably joined in online, but they're going to join in, and I'm going to help them along with the class as we go on as well.
Cool, excellent. Purusha, do you want to just quickly?
Yeah, sure. I work in ERP, so languages I have are C, C++, and Java. And not very so yeah, that's my background. I don't have any Android. I'm just keen to learn, so.
Okay, fantastic. So all of us are far ahead of what they expect us to know programming terms. Some of us will learn a lot from the Android side. And yes, I hope it does fill some good holes. Going through this, as I say, we're not going to do much programming. We're not going to do most of the learning during the meetups and in the Hangouts. I'm hoping we'll get the Hangouts working more reliably for the coming weeks. I'm going to mainly we're all going to be learning on our own, following the Udacity course. Please do enroll for the Udacity course so that we have some idea who's actually doing it. But go for the free version. Oh, hi there. During the week, we've got there's a Google group. I think you've all received the link to it. If you've got any questions, put them out there, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If it's an urgent question, or you don't want anyone else to see what the question is, can't think why, but email me directly. I think you've all got my email address. If not, I can give it to you now. It's Markop, MARKOPP, @gmail.com. But for the most part, it's going to be better to raise the questions on the group because then not only I can answer, but everyone can answer. And once I've answered, the questions available to everyone. So if we can go for that as the primary means of communication. Also, if there's topics you want to you're not so much asking a question, but you'd like to discuss at the next meetup or hangout, just post them there, and then we can gather them all together and give us an idea of what we're going to discuss next week. There's also, if you've got questions, the other place to look is the course itself has a forum. You'll find there's a link on the left-hand side which takes you to the questions relating to every course in Udacity, which is pretty useless. And on the right-hand side, there's a link to just the forums for this course, which is, on the whole, much more useful. lots more people asking questions there than answering, but there are useful answers as well.
When I signed up for the Udacity, sort of seemed to be quite a lot of material there. Then when I went to log in again this morning, in fact, all it wanted to do was take $199 a month off me.
Ooh, I don't follow that link.
Yes. And it keeps on coming up with this irritating pop-up. So what was I missing?
I don't know, but I think you must have gone to the wrong link somehow. I'll mail you the link that I'm using, because I'm certainly not getting that, and no one should be getting that. They will always offer you the chance to give them money, understandably. Essentially, the structure is that normally Udacity, you either get Udacity for money and you get someone to help you, or you get Udacity for free and no one to help you. The idea with the study jams is you get Udacity for free and you get me to help you, which hopefully is good enough. So yes, we need to fix that.
Yeah, if you could.
Yeah.
It's plain irritating.
Yes, absolutely.
It was early, but
no excuse. Yeah.
might be the less factor.
No. Yeah. You have your laptop with you.
Yeah.
We'll take a look at the shot and then we'll break. Okay. Yes. So register for the study jams. Register for the Google group if you haven't. I know most of you haven't, because almost no one has. A few of you have. Thank you. There's a Google group. You should have received a link to it in your email from the meetup. If you could, when you follow the link, you'll be asked to request access to it. I will let you in almost immediately, well, within an hour or two, and use that for questions, discussion topics, general communication with your fellows and with me. Okay. Has anyone used Udacity before? Nope. Anyone used a MOOC before? Yep. Okay. Right. I've never used I've never used any other. To do this course, I had to do it. So I've used it a little bit. My wife, who just left, did something, didn't I? Has been following one. I think it's fairly typical of MOOCs. There's video lectures. There's lots of links to additional material. Most of the lectures are fairly goofy. Put up with it. If it gets too frustrating, run them at 1.5 times speed. They're a lot better at that speed. A lot of the materials, as I say, because we're all programmers, you're going to just skip past most of it, and then get on to the Android specific parts. Sometimes it's going to be solid new stuff. In fact, this week's material is all pure Android. There's no programming coming up in the first week. So that, in some senses, that's going to be great. They intersperse the videos with exercises. The exercises are a mixture. The simplest ones will just say, "Have you done something?" You tick a box and say, "Yeah, great." Other times they'll actually ask you to type in some code, or to tick some examples and say which ones are right, which ones are wrong, or provide comments. With the comments, they're not going to check that you put the right comments in. There's no magic. They're just making sure you've said something. But try and answer it, because actually they will then reflect on the answers and discuss it, and it's quite useful material. If you get anything wrong, you just keep on going until you get it right. But yeah, as I say, it's worth following.
Sorry, quick one. Just Hangout is playing twice, so I'm not sure if you've got two windows open. The one live on air, so it's
right.
There's
Okay.
Your voice comes and then there's an echo.
Right, that's interesting. No, that's all. Right, so I've got this one. Those are my only two windows. Right, well, let's just try muting this and see what happens.
Right.
Hi there.
I'll check.
Is anyone else able to hear me?
I don't think there's any other voice, but I will check the
Right,
comments.
okay. I'm not sure this was a good idea. So in case anyone missed it, we got people who are following the course in Belgium and Holland as well, who are meant to be following us via a Hangout. And yes, I still just find myself referring to them as Hangouts. It does not seem to be a wonderful piece of technology. So yes, we look. I should wait until they get. Sorry about this. This is really not. Okay, great. Right, for those in Belgium, I'm running through a quick overview of the course. I'm sorry about this, and for people in Reading, sorry for the duplication. 6 lessons divided up into 3 groups. This week we're going to be doing lessons 1A and 1B. 1A and 1B are all about layout and presentation of an Android application, nothing about programming. So for those of you who know programming, it's all going to be new stuff. Those who know, well, it's new stuff for everyone. 1A is just about very, very simple elements of an Android view, Android display, how to put a bit of text on screen, how to put an image on screen, and how to put a button on screen. It assumes you know nothing about XML, so if you don't, you're going to learn about XML. If you do, that's all going to be very familiar. We're not going to be using an IDE to do this. We're going to be using a web-based tool that just understands the XML syntax used for designing Android screens, static Android screens for those who care. The tool is very, very simple to use. If you've got any questions about it, contact me via the Google group. It's called the XML Visualizer. You can look at text views and image views. And there's lots and lots of online documentation linked from the course. Read as much of that as you feel like you can swallow. It's great stuff. But it will inevitably have more detail than any of you really want to know. 1B, we also want to do this week. Gets a bit more interesting. It involves layout. It's how to arrange collections of views on screen. So how we can have a sequence of images, a sequence of texts, pieces of text, or put bits of text over an image, arrange them around the page. We're going to be using, I thought it was 3, but apparently according to this slide, it's just 2 of the most common layouts. The linear layout puts things horizontally or vertically, and the relative layout puts them more flexibly. Attribute inheritance allows us to pull attributes down from a layout into an individual element. That will all make sense when you're doing the course. Weight allows us to change how big things are. Again, I'm not going to go into any details. You'll get it during the course. Now things get fun. After you've run through the course, the lectures and videos and exercises, we get to practice set 1. At this stage, we're actually going to build a real, simple Android application. It's going to be a simple card application, so it's going to be a birthday card or a welcome home from South Africa card. My wife just came back this morning. It's going to be very, very simple, but you're actually going to have something that you can run on a phone. In theory, you could even put post it up to the Android web, the Android store, and get people to buy it. Probably too simple to buy, but it's you're gonna have something that actually runs. However, to get there, a critical step is going to be installing the Android Studio. So we're going to move away from using the simple XML editor. We can actually have a full IDE programming in Java, XML editing as well, of course. Because that can, on many machines, take a little while, we're going to have to install Java as well if you haven't got that. I know most of you do already. This can take a little while. So they give you a quiz to complete while you're watching the progress bar to complete. It's simple, I think it's 10 questions about Java layouts and Java views. You collect meta clues as you go along. At the end of it, if you collect all the clues together, you can answer a final question, which puts you into a raffle for a prize. No, it doesn't. It gives you an image you can use in your application. That's right. Nothing necessary, but it's a bit of fun to keep yourself amused while you're waiting for a very slow progress bar. Once you've got the studio installed, you'll be able to make use of the types of layouts and views you've been using to construct your application. They'll run you through some advice on how to do that, how to run it on an emulator on a phone. Hopefully you've all got Android phones, but it really doesn't matter if you haven't. The emulator, as long as you're on an Intel machine, and I'm sure we all are, is perfectly adequate. It runs, the Intel emulator runs fast. The non-Intel emulator is horribly slow. All the advice you'll get is to run the Intel emulator. Just follow the advice. If you have any problems running the Intel one and you haven't got a phone, contact me and we'll talk about what we can do. The non-Intel emulator is unbearable. Yep, so that gives you something to run. That's what we'll be expecting to talk about next week. They'll ask you to put out screenshots of your planned application and the final application onto the forum. If you could do that, that's great. If not, if you want to put them onto the Google group, that'd be nice as well, so you can see what everyone's been doing. This isn't a shaming thing. Mine looks appalling, but it has got a big smiley face. Yeah, it gives us a feeling of accomplishment, and we can see what people have been doing, gives ideas what else one could have done. It's a nice exercise. Next week, we will be running through it the 2A and 2B. We're going to actually do some simple programming at this stage. We're making the application interactive. So not just images and text. We can actually start using a button. I don't know the programming levels that people have just arrived. Have you all done some programming? Yes, I know you have. Right. Sorry. Yeah, great, fantastic. Okay. So there's going to be some very simple programming involved in here. The main thing is going to be adding interactivity, so links from the static XML layouts into Java code. We're going to use some variables. We'll look at simple debugging using the Android Studio debugging applications either on the phone or in the emulator. Variable scope. This gets a bit more interesting for those of you who've got some programming knowledge. We are looking at nesting views within view groups within view groups, so we can look at slightly more complex layouts. So we can have both a sequence of elements and elements on top of each other, or elements arranged both vertically and horizontally. Most Android applications make do or can make do with just the linear layouts, relative layouts, and nesting, unless they're games, and let's not go there. There'll be more talk about actually making it much more precise, how things appear, putting white space into your views, having a pixel perfect layout. And then we'll come on to a second application. During the course of 2A, you will be writing an application, but then we ignore that, and we write a completely new application as your practice set, where you get, with the previous one, you'll be told pretty well line by line what you can write. This one, you're going to have much more freedom. to produce the application. And at the end of it, we'll have an application which we can show during the next get together. We're going to talk about whether we're going to do this as a meetup or as a hangout. Come to that in a minute. Then third week, some more programming. We start to look at doing dynamic applications where we've referred from the static layout files, the Java code in 2. Now we're going to start looking at the other way around. From the Java code referring back to the resources, we can pull strings out, we can pull views out, beginning to make the application a bit more interesting. Some basics of object-oriented programming, how to write a log message, really, really useful when your application isn't doing what it's meant to. And obviously later on, really, really useful when your application is out there and didn't do what it was meant to. Take a look a little bit at scrolling, so when your application doesn't fit on screen. And we will look at some simple control flows, just an if-else statement. If you've been reading, I think you all understand that. Intents. Now this is enough. We get back to some interesting Android activities. The way that an Android application hangs together is fairly unusual if you're coming from a C# or I believe iOS background. Definitely if you're coming from most environments that I'm used to. An intent is the heart of it. It's how you link an application together. And the same mechanism is used to link between two parts of your own application and external applications. So whether you're pulling in Google's camera or maps or sharing some text as an email message, using exactly the same process as you would to move to a new screen in your own application. So we're looking at a little bit of that in 3B. We'll look at localization. We'll translate part of an application into Spanish, or another language if you prefer. And we'll look at styling and theming very lightly. We'll look at how to make your application globally look different. So you start off with blue buttons, and by making a single statement to change every button to orange or, yeah. And add consistent styling to text and so forth. And then finally, practice set 3 is not really a practice set. Practice set 3 is our final project. It's where we're actually going to produce a real, functioning, useful application. It's an educational application. We're going to try and teach 5 things to someone. Hopefully a group, a set of people. We all have things in our lives that we know that at least someone else doesn't know. How useful the application will be is really up to you. But we're going to try and produce a simple educational application using the knowledge we've picked up in the previous lessons. We're going to think about our target users. We're going to gather information for what needs to be rendered on the application. We're kind of talking in circles here. We're going to design it. Now there's some important bits here. There's a project rubric. There at the end of this course, because we're not paying Udacity, we're not going to get any qualifications from Udacity, but because you're doing it through the Google Study Jam process, you will get a button, a thing that you can put on your CV or whatever to say you've done this, if you want. To get that, you actually have to submit one of the. You have to run this past me. We can do this. We can look at it collectively if you want. We can do, or I can look at it personally. There are some criteria, some things you have to include in your application. You have to include nested views. You have to include some control flow. They're very, very simple things. It's just a question of doing them. They're not taxing. It's just a question of going through the process. So you want to read the document that describes that before you actually start writing the applications. You make sure that you will have those features in the application. Write the code. Yeah, just keep on going until you get to something that's adequate. Document the project and submit it. You can submit to Udacity. To do that, they want some money. This is the problem you've been hitting. You do get professional feedback. You get from people who do this in theory day in, day out. You can, and you get a Udacity certificate for that. You can certificate to Google Play. There's nothing about what we're doing here that doesn't mean you can't write an application that is entirely viable for a public audience. Yeah, you'll be writing a real publishable application, whether it's free or for sale, up to you. It will cost you $25. But if you do that, you're a professional. Yeah, you're a professional Android programmer. There's something to be said for it. Alternatively, you can just submit it to me, and I'll run through it, make sure it runs, make sure the code looks like it matches the rubric, and give you a certificate. I also need to know that you've attended the courses, the study jams, and that you've gone through the lessons. As I say, you can run through the lessons at high speed if you're already programmers. It's not going to take you very long. You can skip much of the content. But mysterious benefactors do like us to know that we've actually done the things they'd ask us to do. I suggest looking at the material for this at the beginning, so you can be thinking about the final project from the start. And then in theory, we'll have at least, we should have 2 weeks to complete this. I'm not going to impose a hard deadline. We'll discuss progress on 2 weeks. Ideally, if everyone could be finished within the 2 weeks, that'd be fantastic. Yeah. It'll take about 20 hours if you don't know any programming. In fact, it'll take about 20 hours if you go through everything at the normal speed without skipping over things. It should take less if you do know how to program. But there's a fair amount of video material, and some of the videos are not just about the Android technology or about Java programming. Some of them are also about Android applications, the Android marketplace, things people have achieved with Android applications. Some of them borderline inspirational. There's some quite nice stories being told. There's some stuff about being a professional Android programmer. Up to you whether you feel that they're worth watching, but I thought they were interesting. We're going to give you some toys. We'll come back to that in a second. You get, yes, study jam completion certificate if you do complete it. And Udacity will give you a discount on the full Android Nano degree. Essentially, there's 3 levels here. There's this beginner's course which we're doing now. There's a developing for Android course on Udacity that assumes you know Java well, and will do a lot more Java programming. And then there's a full, what they call the Nano degree. It's a 6-month course. They allow you to take over 12 months. This will give you a 50% discount on it. It does cost money. I forget how much, but it's a reasonable cost. It's cost per month. So if you finish it really fast, you pay less. But yes, by doing this, you can get a discount on that if that appeals to you. And that's definitely something worth putting on one CV if one does get it, or LinkedIn profile, or whatever you're using to advertise your skills. Omar, can you talk about Google Launchpad? I know nothing about it.
Basically, Google Launchpad is a program by Google for supporting startups. And what happened is that if you qualify, Google will support you with mentoring and everything. But the most important thing is $100,000 a year in like platform costs and things to get you started. We don't have one here in Reading, but there's one in Basingstoke. And Adrian, who's just in the other meetup, he's actually sort of responsible for that. So if you were interested, you could introduce it to Adrian, and then later on when you develop your app, it's like the next Andrew Birds or this. And hopefully you can take it forward and have it as a startup maybe. That's it.
Cool, okay. So yes, and I'm not quite sure how this links into the Launchpad, but I gather this, our sponsors or mysterious benefactors or whatever you want to call them would really love you to take this survey. They will raffle you toys, nice toys. We're going to give you basic toys. These are nice toys. I assume there's going to be thousands of people, so the chance of getting it is probably fairly small, but it's still worth doing because, hey, they're nice toys. And it makes them feel happy, which makes us feel happy. That I will make, I think I've sent that out already. If not, I will mail that out to everyone to make sure you've all got that link. You're given that link at the end of the course as well. I need to say thank you to the obvious people, Google, who give us the swag and generally support us and make everything happen, and Grow, who are wonderful people who give us this space and drinks and pizzas, and I'm not quite sure how all the finances work, but they're fantastic. Right. So that's an overview of what's coming up. I'm going to show you a little bit, some examples of the card applications in a moment, but I've just talked for longer than I like to talk in a continuous stream and need to pause a breath. If anyone would like to get a cold drink or talk about what you've just heard or think of some questions, please do while I just gather my thoughts for a moment. Prusa?
5 minutes?
5 minutes? Yes, yes, 5 minutes.
Right, so I do have a complicated question for marketing. I think basically I see if I can grab everything. Do you, I mean, the question I had was basically, how are you going to, you can't create a button on Java. Basically, the button is basically, you most likely, I mean, basically you have an ID basically on the view, which you, so how are you going to create a dynamic button?
You can create a button. You can create a new view. The same way you create fragments.
Yeah.
You create views.
You can create views.
And then you can add them as children to your layout, to an existing layout.
Yeah.
You can provide all your properties, you provide the layout parameters.
Yeah, I agree.
You really need my job.
Or you can create everything. I don't know. You say it's I don't know how to dynamic, but if there's some scope to dynamic, if there's some limits of dynamicity, yes, the dynamics, then you can create all the possible elements and then make them visible or not visible and change their properties on demand. I think you'll find that easier than, it's probably entirely possible to create an intent dynamically as well.
No instructions.
Oh, yes, an activity dynamically, but I don't see, I'm not sure why one would.
Basically, what I'm thinking is basically, let me just try to clarify. So, in the main and then you basically user can put in whatever you want, and basically then we can start another activity from it, because I think it's the user will be able to create another problem. Is that's where I'm struggling, because you can't create dynamic intents. A dynamic activity.
You can create dynamic intents, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, but you can't create dynamic activity.
I don't think I'm not an Android expert. Even though I think I'm presenting myself as such, but I'm not.
No, let's clarify. If you created a page,
Yep.
a view,
Yes.
okay, and now basically from that view, I want to go to another view, which will be customized by the user with the user. So the user can add several views. It could be basically 20 views.
So one way to do that would be to always go to the same activity but have different dynamic content to it. Another way to do it would be to swap fragments in and out. You can construct the fragments dynamically. A third way to do it, a completely different way to do it, and again, I don't know what your goal is, but
I think with fragments would be you want to come down with fragments.
you can swap them out.
Exactly. You can add fragments and then
You replace it. A third way to do it would be to use a web view.
I just get
another idea.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, you switch back and forth in technology now, but again, I don't know what your goal with this, the target activity is, but it may be that a web view would actually give you what you need.
You just got to make sure you do what you
But I don't know much about web views. That's the thing I need.
But you know a lot about HTML.
Yeah,
That's what you need to know.
but I've never
Probably not all you need to know. The interaction back from the web view to the rest of the other system you need to know. But all your layout requirements are in HTML. It's another option. We don't cover that in the course. I think you're way ahead of where the course is going to end.
I mean, the course is going to give me. I'm just wondering whether the course is going to give me. I mean, it will give me a degree which I don't have one.
Yeah. Run through it. See whether it's useful. Yeah. And skip ahead if you're not finding it. But yeah.
I'll be doing for a year. So, what is exactly the degree why I read was
this to convert it to
Yeah.
Around the
Around the other side of here, the big cafeteria over there. There's no outside of this. No lines.
Oh, I think
Okay. Sorry, I'm afraid I don't know your name. Could you close the door? I think we're all here now. And yeah, no problem. I just yeah. It gives us a feeling of starting. Thanks. Right. Okay. I just want to quickly take a look at the sort of things some of the people are producing for our first project. This is the discussion forum on Udacity, where definitely not everyone, but many people have been submitting examples of their cards. So someone decided to write a card about the unicorn uprising. Strangely, dogs seem to be commoner than cats in these. So there we go. So I'm not biased. Welcome to Android. Someone here's a CV for himself. Yes, there are some cats. Yes, okay. The horrible thing that I produced is here.
oh, it's got je ne sais quoi.
It doesn't do anything. It doesn't need to be any more complex than that, but most of you probably have more artistic skills than I do, so.
I don't know about that.
We're not going to judge. I'm not going to judge. I'm not in a position to judge. Anyway, so we're looking for an application like that. It need have 0 Java code in it. That one has no Java code at all. I think there's 3 lines of generated code that I didn't touch. That's it. This matters more to the people on the other end of the Hangout link, but yeah, it can be very, very simple at this stage. All we're looking at is the layout tooling, the XML files that are used to generate the appearance of an application. What I wanted to do at this stage is actually take a look and quickly run through the beginning of the Udacity course 1A, just so we get a feel for it. I don't want to go through the whole thing because I think that's going to get very tiresome for everyone here. It's going to be a long evening. We can consider doing that in future ones, but as we've had quite a lot of talking already. I just want to introduce people to what it looks like.
So Catherine, we've been working on this course for a while.
I know, Knall, and it's about to launch, so I'm really...
So all the courses have a blue bar across the top like this. The blue bar is individual videos within, in this case, 1A. Some of them have dots in them. The ones that have got dots, I've got a short quiz. There's access to additional materials down the left-hand side. This is the general discussion link. It's really not much use. Over here, we have the discussion topics for this course. That's the link to use. And then often there will be additional notes down here. Some of them are really, well, these are really important to read because some of them update the course. The course was written for version 1 point, not sure, 1 point something of Android Studio. Android Studio has moved on a bit. The Android SDI and Android SDKs have moved on, and some things that were either possible with Android Studio or a good idea with the old version of the SDK have changed. So there will be corrections down here. So always check the notes. There also quite often are links to code samples or images or bits of data to download for use in an exercise. And transcripts are potentially quite useful as well. And if you do want to follow my advice, you do find it all just going too slowly, you can choose the speed here, which is nice. Anyway.
Excited. Right. It's been a couple of months that we've been designing this course.
Can
and I
you
want to
hear?
be in perfect sync with you around who the learner or the student of this course is.
Yeah, so I think the learner is someone who's never programmed before.
Wait, when you say never, do you mean no lines of code?
Zero.
Not very loud, is
Zero
it?
lines of code.
Yeah.
Wow, that's going to be a tough course for us to design, but it's going to open up the gambit for everybody to take this course.
Absolutely, I think that's why it's so
Videos
powerful.
introducing-
Because at the end of this course, I think they should be able to build a couple of simple Android apps.
Wait, let's backtrack a little bit. So we're saying no lines of code, no programming experience, but we're still saying you need a computer and you need an internet connection.
Yeah, and to have some familiarity with using a computer and a smartphone.
So you browse the internet, let's say on a smartphone or a computer.
Yeah,
Okay, well, let's say this is where the student is right now,
okay.
right? And this is where a professional Android developer is, right? This is where they're making apps, they're making money, they're changing the world.
Okay.
Let's say this is where we will get them at the end of our course.
I think we can get them to here.
Okay, so in this journey that the student is taking with us, what sort of apps are they building here?
Yeah, so the first app is a birthday card app.
Wait, you said first app, so there's more than one app?
Yeah, so first there's a birthday card app where they can make it for someone
I
that
like
they
that.
love.
People have birthdays, sometimes they even have half birthdays.
Yeah, and the second app should be a coffee ordering app.
So you say, I want 2 cappuccinos, and 2 cappuccinos appear magically from the phone.
Not quite, but it captures what the user wants to order,
So
and
that's
then
gonna
it
go on
sends it
for a
off in
while.
email.
Okay,
Let's
so in this
skip
journey
on
that
from
we've
there.
been sort of dreaming up, how long will it take the student so they...
Tell us about a time when you were learning something new and you had to struggle.
Okay, Catherine, if we're going to ask our students to share their vulnerable stories on the internet,
Yeah.
we have to lead by example.
Okay, fair enough. You go first.
Okay.
So some of these are,
Yeah,
we get some of these social exercises where they're going to ask you to talk about things you've been doing in the past, completely unrelated to Android programming. Really up to you whether you feel comfortable putting these things out there. They're trying to encourage you to look at this as an example of the sorts of things that get the sort of learning processes that one goes through that can be quite painful, and then get, yeah, quite rewarding at the end. I think for the programmers amongst us, it's all going to be very, very familiar material. For the non-programmers in Belgium, it may be rather more of a concern. I mean, personally, the thing that it made me think of was a large number of years ago, long before I met my wife. I was going to move to Holland with a Dutch woman, and knew no Dutch, and didn't know any Dutch people, and realized I was in a few months' time living in a country with strange language, and spent a long time with a Berlitz tape, I think it was Berlitz tape, repeatedly rewinding these 90 minutes of Dutch phrases, trying to learn them and work out what the grammar must be. And it was dreadful. But by the time I got there, I could order hot chocolate with cake, and could say hello and goodbye and order things, and sometimes understand the prices. And things got better after that. But this is going to be a lot more fun than that. The steps involved in this are very small. They add on incrementally. They always are giving you immediate feedback. And for those of you who haven't done any mobile programming before, well, for those of you who haven't done any programming before, it's fun. For those of you who haven't done any mobile programming before, there is something magical about actually getting something running on a device. It's not just on a computer, which we're all used to, but actually having something in your hand you can walk around with. It's more like making a thing than programming normally is. It's very satisfying. So I wouldn't worry about these exercises at all. I'm more than happy to just move on from this one. Where's that rat? Right. Okay, so some of the this little screen has not been much fun for this. Some of the steps are not actually videos; they're bits of text. Normally, they're describing a programming technique, or actually providing samples for the next exercise. Nothing really to be said about them except just read the text. Oh yes, this one's quite interesting because it actually has a link to a glossary that the Udacity provide of useful programming and Android terms. I'm not sure it's even going to work on the screen. Yes, it did actually. That's nice to see. Again, for the programmers, I don't think any of this is going to be of any great revelation for the non-programmers, and for those who've got no experience with Android, some of this may be quite useful. But yeah, there's lots of links to this. It's a useful resource.
Step 1 is about picking the views that you want to use. First, I should explain what exactly a view in Android is. Simply put, a view is a rectangle on the screen that shows some content. It can be an image, a piece of text, or a button, or anything else that the app can display. Now, these individual views make up what we call the layout of the screen. Everything about what you see and interact with in your app is called the user interface, or UI for short. There are different types of views with different names. A view that shows some text is called a text view. Here are some examples. A view that shows an image is called an image view, and these are some examples. A view that shows a button is called, well, a button, and these are some examples. Now, there are many other types of views in Android which are really helpful to use, but we're going to focus on these 3 first. Earlier, I mentioned that every view is a rectangle on the screen, but where are all the rectangles? Well, technically, they're invisible, but I will draw them for you so you can see where the bounds of each rectangle is. As you can see, every app can be broken down into the individual views that make it up. In other words, a view is the basic building block that you use to build up the layout for your app. To help you understand the idea of views being rectangles on the screen, here's a situation you may be more familiar with. If you ever use an application like Paint or Google Drawings, then you may have added a text box to the canvas. Then you type in your text. If you click outside of it, though, you don't see the bounds of the rectangle, but they are there. And bounds actually do start to matter when you start to do things like adding a background color or adding a border around it. Then it does matter how big the rectangle is. I also want to point out that the format of these view names is in camel case. Camel case means that there are no spaces in between words, and the beginning of each word is capitalized. The reason why it's called camel case is because the outline of the word goes up and down like the humps of a camel's back. You're going to be seeing camel case more throughout this course. Okay, let's practice what you learned. This is a screenshot of the new email app from Google called Inbox. Can you identify the different types of views here? To help you, I've highlighted the individual views. For example, for A, can you tell me if it's a text view, an image view, or a button? Do the same for B, as well as the rest of the views.
Okay, so that's a fairly typical quiz they're going to give you. So this is one where actually it has it has right answers. We're starting to get a little bit more interesting at this stage. I will leave you to answer that yourselves.
Let's go over the solution together.
They always
Now
review
you know about a
the
couple of
solution.
different views, like text view, image view, and button that you can use in making Android apps. But now I have another challenge for you.
The YouTube challenge.
Okay, this is a screenshot of the YouTube app when you first come into it. Look at it for a moment, and can you imagine where the view bounds would go? You can pause the video while you think for a second. Okay, so this is where I would draw them. And now I want you to identify whether each of these views is a text view, an image view, or a button.
Now again, getting concrete examples of real applications and how to create the user interfaces. As I say, you can actually produce the interfaces to a very wide range of standard, popular, widely used apps, simply using, as they say, those three view types and the two layout types that are going to be discussed in this application in this course. So in terms of user interface, while there's an awful lot more things you can do, you can cover a lot of material simply with the material. You can cover an awful lot of types of applications simply with the user interface tools that they're going to be taught in this course. I almost got this wrong. I thought that was a button. Okay,
so looking at this screenshot, there are two text views at the top. And I can say this because they have two different text styles.
Right.
You made some good observations in the last quiz about the XML that we showed you. Now we're going to talk more formally about the XML syntax.
Okay, so they're going to talk
Syntax
about
means the rule.
So she talks a little bit about the syntax of
Okay, so we've seen text view code for the first time.
We can talk a little more about XML syntax used to specify the views. Lots of this one is going to be, these two lectures are going to be talking about, these lessons will be talking about the XML syntax. Just want to run through the introduction to the code editor that they're going to be using, just so that if anyone, especially the people in Belgium, have any questions about this, they can ask me in advance.
But it's kind of hanging out in limbo.
Right. We do need a space where we can sort of house it.
Yeah, and that space is an IDE.
Right. There's that acronym again.
Yeah.
What did it stand for, Catherine?
Integrated Development Environment.
Right. And we are going to be using Android Studio in this class. This is what it looks like. Still a little intimidating.
Yeah, I think we might need something that will help our learner ramp up a little bit this year.
So we've been working on developing something that is Android Studio on training wheels, and in the tradition of really convoluted acronyms in computer science, we are calling it XMLV.
Which stands for XML Visualizer.
So you write a little bit of XML, you get to see the output. You write some more, you get to see more output.
Yeah, so let's go use it.
Okay.
Since this XML Visualizer was created specifically for this course, it won't provide all the functionality that Android Studio supports. But eventually, in the problem set of this lesson, we'll get you into Android Studio so you won't need this website anymore. A link is in the instructor notes if you want to follow along. For this code, a text says happy birthday. So when I look at the device, it says happy birthday. Now let's try to change the text to Happy Birthday, Kunal. And then when I zoom in on the device preview, you see that it says Happy Birthday, Kunal. Now what happens if I try to change the width and the height? I'll pick some arbitrary values like 300.
Right. I think that's enough. That's enough time watching videos for now. I'll leave you to watch them all on your own. That tool there is going to be, as I say, extensively used during this week. It means one's actually getting into writing technical text. It's going to be, it's highly structured, it's syntax dependent, you've got to get it right, but you're doing so in a relatively friendly environment, you get immediate feedback. If you've got any questions about using a tool like that, contact me, we can discuss any concerns, but I think the goal with it is to provide an easy way in, and I think you'll find it, yeah, I don't think anyone's going to have any concerns with that at all. Right. I want to talk a bit about how we're going to go forward with this course. As I say, we're going to do the work between meetups. We've got this split audience. We've got people in Belgium and Holland, and we've got people here in Reading. We can either carry on actually meeting up physically, or we can meet up. We can do this via Hangouts and discuss, and I will talk, and then get people to talk back to me. I have been expecting to do it via Hangouts, but I'm not sure. How do you feel? Anyone got any thoughts?
I prefer to get together and have all the other people and actually discuss what your problems are.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. No. That's.
Yeah. I think so. Basically, there's a discussion group. Obviously, you can post in the discussion group. There's also going to be a weekly hangout. In terms of meeting up face to face, you might want to like spread it out. So say, okay, we'll meet every other week or something. But for that one, we have to check with, because obviously we've got the sponsor here. We need to check to make sure they have the venue available. So that it might be available, it might not.
Okay.
So you might have to just fall back on. I think it's 5 weeks, isn't it?
5 weeks, yes.
Yeah. So with the first session we meet face to face, we'll try to get the session in the middle, face to face, and then maybe a session at the end to conclude the course. In between, there's a weekly, which Mark will invite you to. There's a weekly meetup, hangout, which you can join from your home or work or whatever. And you can have your camera on, off if you want it, or mic on. If you have any questions, you can ask Mark. And I'll check with Grow here to see if we can get a day in the middle of the course. So like from 2 weeks from now, 2 weeks and a half, maybe 3 weeks, and then one at the end, face to face. But you can then join through the hangout.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
I think my biggest problem when I've been like setting up iOS, for example,
yeah,
with Objective-C, is getting the IDE to work and getting it hooked up so you can actually run it and debug it on the device. And I don't know if other people find that. In some ways, I was hoping that
we do that now. Yeah, okay.
Maybe not now, but
well, maybe we should give that a go. I mean, I'm not, how long have we got available to us? We have time. We have time this evening. So yeah, I don't normally find problems with getting IDs working, but getting them talking to devices definitely can be problematic. Especially. Okay. Yes. Well, yeah. Okay. We'll see what we'll see where we can go with that. How other people feel. Any other thoughts, feelings?
Get stuck in.
Sorry?
Get stuck in.
You want to get stuck in, right? Good, great. Well, that's.
Can you just remind me of your email?
Yes, it's MARK @gmail.com. I have no idea who owns them. But they're yet another MOOC provider. They run the course, which Google is then offering via the study jams.
So that's the Google official
Course provider.
official train.
I think that may be overstating it. They're the official trainers for this purpose.
All this stuff available from Google anyway.
All this stuff is available from Udacity for free. All that we're doing here is you're getting access to me for free. And you get a, as I say, you can get a Google badge and get some pens and toys. But yeah, if you want to do this, if you want to do this on your own, you can carry on doing so. And if you want to do the other Udacity, the more advanced Udacity Android courses, you can do those for free as well, or you can pay Udacity and get a pin to stick on the CD. Sorry, my name is Mark Oppenheim. I'm a programmer. I've been doing mobile development for a very long time, but I'm not an Android expert. But I have programmed in Android for a while. And yeah, I'm just a volunteer who's trying to help out here. And yes, I'll be available to answer questions. Hopefully know the answers.
One quick thing I wanted to add as well, when you join the Hangout with Mark, you can actually, with Hangouts, you can, I don't know if you might have used it already, you can actually share your desktop. So if a problem with an error message or something that you cannot easily sort of describe, you can simply just share your desktop. And you can also give somebody remote control if you wanted, so they can click around and stuff. It's a very nice tool for, for collaborative. Yeah. So it's like Google, used to be called Google Talk, but they rebranded it to Hangouts. And pretty much, I think, capacity, many people could join and they can all talk. Obviously, people might need to go on mute if they're not talking, and if they've got kids running about, like same as me when I go on Hangouts, got the kids on the background. But yeah, it's fairly solid. You can share stuff on it. And very nice for collaboration.
Okay, yeah. So I can definitely help with that. That can definitely help if there's issues with setting up Android Studio. It may still be tricky helping with connectivity issues over that. I speak from bitter experience.
Do we get the same issues with Android as we get with iOS, where suddenly your provisioning expires, or
okay,
there's all sorts of security problems when you
I've done far less iOS development than I have Android development. I've done almost none. But my impression is, on the whole, the Android stuff is much more friendly. And there's also much more help out there for it, is my impression, but I'm really not speaking from a position of authority there. And it's much more reliable than dealing with WinCE, if that's what you're used to. Sorry?
Sorry, I said that was long gone. The other thing I find is that with certainly Xcode, you've got something working, you get an upgrade, and suddenly all your calls are deprecated. Errors everywhere.
Okay.
Do we get that in Android?
To a degree, yes. And Google have been very good at providing compatibility APIs. They don't fail your build if there are deprecation warnings. But yes, APIs do get deprecated. In fact, the comments I made about the notes, quite a lot of that is relating to deprecations. And particularly with changes to the backwards compatibility APIs. So to give old versions of Android the ability to run new user interface elements and so on. Yes, I'm afraid that is the downside to this wonderful world where things move on so fast.
Just wondering what bag of worms I was looking into.
There are definitely worms. My limited experience, it hasn't been. Google's quite good at allowing you to say, I'm going to aim at an old version of Android, and will tell you what percentage of Android devices will be able to run your software if you aim it at that version. But that doesn't mean you don't hit deprecation issues. No. Yeah. Any other questions on or thoughts about the setup? No. Okay, then we'll see whether Omar can arrange it for not this coming week, but the week after. So at the end of lesson 2, and I will see how it's going with the people in Holland and Belgium, because I may split it out into 2 hangouts.
At the end of the week, finish your thing. Does it vanish? Or can you just go back?
Oh, keep on, yeah, absolutely. Whenever, yeah,
all 5 things in the last week.
Absolutely, yes. If I am to, the rules that I am given say that if I'm to give you a Google Android for Beginners certificate, you need to have attended the Hangouts or meetups with 1 or 2, but you can miss 1 or 2. You have to have gone through all the lessons, but it doesn't say when, and you have to have provided a project that matches the rubric. It doesn't say anything about when you did what, when you did things.
Is the event page the same as the Google Hangout? I've never used a Hangout, so got the event page up where to get questions now. Is that considered the Hangout?
The Hangout is the noisy bit associated with that, that the guys in Belgium are listening to at the moment. But yes, it is linked from that event page. Now it's interesting because I haven't looked. We got questions there, have we? Okay, thanks, darling.
But this is a live stream.
Yeah.
So we'll have something different, some more interactive Skype kind of session and stuff. But everyone will be connected. It's more like WebEx.
Right.
Yeah, everyone will be able to talk and write as well. But this one will have all my ums and ahs recorded for posterity in a YouTube video, whereas those ones won't have any. We won't have any record of them. We'll just be speaking. But right, okay. So I'll make sure the Hangout invitation reaches all of you. If you can all make sure that you join the Google group, then I've got all your email addresses, which makes sure that I can access all of you. If you could put in a sort of one-line introduction to yourself and where you are, because I don't always know which face fits which name, because I've got a dreadful memory for that sort of stuff. So it really helps to know who's who and where they are. Yeah, I think that's all I really wanted to say. Anyone here who wants to deal with some questions? We'll get on with that now. Anyone in Belgium, Holland, who's got questions? Sorry? Oh, apparently in Dublin as well. Oh boy, we're all over the world. Okay, if anyone in anywhere other than Reading has got questions, raise them. Just type them in, and pretty sure we'll pass them across to me. But yeah, I'll leave, in case there's any questions, I'll leave that running, and I think yeah, anyone who wants to leave now, go. Anyone who wants to stay, and I'll look at helping with setting up the Android Studio, we'll go for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Gosh, that's the
How easy is it to change it? So, it's easy to do.
I quite like Windows 10.
It's the same thing as with yeah.
Yeah, that's true as well, and it's easier to get used to in Windows 8 or Windows 1.
Upgraded to Windows 10. It freezes them. Got to turn it on.
Oh dear. Okay. Yes. No. Yes, I haven't got it on a physical machine yet. When Tim came out shortly after I got this, and I'm running on the reliable there. That's no test. That's a service. Oh really? Oh wow. Okay. You need anything else to be shown there? Maybe not. Maybe if we were to put up.
Processes and
That would be confusing if I did that.
I do most of my stuff in, I was doing some in text, now I do Atom, which is, yeah, I do Atom.
I'll leave it up for now.
Exactly.
well, for me, it's the important terrible. So it's the yeah.
Rebooted it.
Yes.
I do. I love the answers, plugging those in and just talk
That's which I quite like. My Python, it's still there, but it's not.
Sometimes it's a little bit more polished, but
Are you one or two where you?
I'm probably going to add to the studio.
Yeah, I've already got yours.
Okay.
Got a page link to ready to download. Yeah, I didn't want to grab all the Wi-Fi really, so I didn't do it.
Actually, yes. Okay, I think we're done basically. And that's the next device.
I think there's one, maybe two people in the office that might not be able to do meetings, but we do stuff there.
Fantastic.
And then I'm gonna they're a junior guy, so I don't know if I'll contact you on the Google group just to use names stuff to hang out.
Okay. That's fantastic. Yes, okay. Fine. Everyone who's joined up, I'll send out the list. I'll be sending all the updates to. And there's no restrictions on this.
Yes, I've actually got a couple of little projects in mind.
Fantastic. Yes.
And they're going to, they won't be useful. One is just a really simple thing. And what it is the kids have all got Android tablets. And they all play video. We have either no volume or like maximum volume. So if I could make my life easy, what I'm going to do is write an app that could fix the volume and then put lower. I'm just wondering how easy it is to get access to that sort of machine level, plus a sort of volume, make a volume limiter.
You would have to do the hardware transcription CV.
I don't know, that's what I'm asking. I don't know how hard it will be.
So what you would have to do is you have to build a hardware piece for probably like we have on every body that has an iron blaster, running the cartridge to the TV, and then you could build whatever connection you want to that device. Basically, say hit a button, it tells the device then does the IR blaster to the TV. So it's not involved in now. It's probably how you put that out.
Otherwise, the TVs control the volume, isn't it?
Oh no, I mean actually on their devices.
On the devices, yes.
On the native on the
So you
devices.
install an application on the
I'd
device.
install an application on the device which would lower the maximum volume.
You have to.
I don't think it'd be that.
You have to wait to connect to the TV. That.
Oh no, it would just be something that if you've got multiple users on that, I'd want to have whereas like you'd have parental controls on there, right? It would be like a
parental control or something like that, where if you're an admin, you can go on
On
and
the
learn.
iPad. I've not played with that before. And I imagine it's possible, but I
I know everything's possible.
Oh,
Time and
sorry.
money, right?
well, no, on iOS they're not possible. I'm sure this is possible on Android. I don't know how to. Maybe really simple.
Maybe that's the first one. I mean, it's a small. I know it's a simple task, but whether it's a simple app is another matter. It might be that there are some points where some things you can't control easily.
Control volume on tablets,
On tablets.
on tablets. Two apps. You need one which is a client, installs on.
Yeah, no, I was expecting it to be like a native application, not.
Yeah, but you install a client app on there, and you install a controller app on the others.
Well, that would be even nicer. I wasn't even going to think of having to be able to remotely control it. I was thinking like I would go on and install it and it would be limited. And then I would go on and turn it on if I wanted to. It'd be nice to be able to remotely control it, but I'm not that bothered about that. I'm just.
No, that sounds like it sounds like a YouTube task. Probably very simple to do. I think you don't just really.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what I'm thinking. So if that's easily possible, then I think
Android,
so yeah.
Windows already has built-in and so to turn up the volume, it pops up a warning to your iPhone actually plug in.
Yes.
Are you sure you want to?
This is it's got speakers on, right?
Yes, so you need something that runs randomly in the background. Actually, you know what? Actually, I rewind. To control the volume is probably quite simple. To write an application that will persistently
That's
control the
what I
volume,
think is persistently controllable.
given that it's likely to get swapped out. I take it back. I'm not talking. That's going to be easier to write.
You have to have a listener environment that basically just pulls the volume level from the device.
But it's
Compares that against a
Just
command, and then
just
if it's above the max, drop it down.
but it's going to be a low priority service. There's no UI. It's likely to get swapped out as soon as the game starts running.
Well, I'm going to try.
Yes,
And I think that'll be the interesting thing. You can have something that can drive your interest in the project. You learn far more than you do. Otherwise, it's just learning for learning's sake, and that's never so easy.
Absolutely. I mean, having a purpose is great.
Plugs some external speakers in.
No, they have speakers on the bloody back of them. So it makes me sound like a really grumpy bastard, but I'm not. I just can't get to turn it down. That's fine. I just thought, get rid of the problem. So
originally you saw turn it down
no, there's nothing quite complicated. This is just installing hoping to have some sort of admin console things that are just say max volume. But yeah, you can do something where you have OS level.
Can you enforce them over other apps?
So it's going to make most of the tools and calls volume to check the level of the price.
You can't have one that's
Yeah, they would be able to up it. I think what you could possibly do is just go when it polls, say, if you want to button, then you can probably have as they're just saying as they're going up.
Access to
it might be easy just to start backing the wires. Did you please write that? No, because that does that. So I'm trying to reduce that. Not increase it. Because that's like this happen. I already support way too much stuff in the house. So you know how complicated it is to use. Like, I was at last year, I changed my Wi-Fi. Devices or something. Oh yeah. They ended up being like 12 phones, 12 devices or something. And the telly has it, and the other telly connects, and the Google thing,
beside a computer that had to be reconnected, and everybody's phones, everybody's business phones, or tablets, so PCs I didn't know
That's too.
Yeah, change my brother and basically so then some they do their chores, they come to so that's a lot of people. Yeah, no, this is the other thing. I say I think this I feel like it's like very basic stuff, it's kind of good. Every device you have to change the media sphere. No, no, no. Thank it's to the concept machine learning. It's funny, yeah, that's cool. I could actually introduce yeah. So you get all the notifications. And then you can decide somebody. Absolutely horrible. Okay, so what happens is you could get it from the places like so it's all we have a monthly meeting. So it's all yes, all the originals, everything like that. And it's just easier for me to give them access to these plans than actually I know I've got my my account, I see all these things that I never thought. It always shows you what you have on. You see all these shows.
How's it going?
It's good. Yeah, I'm not what I watch. But it's I saw the 3, which is 3, which is 3. I saw that opinion in front of me. I was like, oh, wow. Brothers always have been much. You can do whatever these people just get together and use the
So you idea of the project as well?
Okay, maybe the current one also that I would like to do is I keep running I've never had more how much I have everything since I started, including all the petrol. You get notified when you meet the new area, and I keep the total every time I do a petrol station. I take a picture of the gauge and a picture of the tank. Anything within my radius. I've got to work down to like what my miles per gallon is, how much I spent. Brilliant. Everything. So I think if I could automate some of that image recognition against the petrol pump and the tank, do some number recognition so we can actually just auto enter in the values. That would be
that sounds like a really nice application. We'll be on the scope of this course, but a really nice application. Yeah.
No, for this one, it's mostly just, I've done like and stuff like that, so it's mostly just going to be play, learn, help the guys, and just get that kind of refresher back in.
Okay, excellent. Good. All right. I'll look forward to talking to you next on Thursday. Sounds good. Thanks.
Cheers, guys.
Come in.
So, working.
So this is just an extra thing. Google will help us with like things, meetings, and
Yes, indeed.
no. But I'm a Google developer expert, so Google
So you can see there.
applies people in the community to like share stuff with others, and they help. So I help them develop the application, but in my own time, it's not something they pay for.
Is it mostly
I'm cloud mainly. Mark is the I'm on Android as well.
Google Cloud Services?
Yeah, Google Computer Engine, Google Engine. And Oxford has done one about Kubernetes.
Yeah.
Next day I'm doing one in Oxford.
That's the one that we.
I mainly specialize in Google App Engine, so in design and implementing applications for customers on it. But I've also used computing features there, EC2 equivalent. And using query features like the database. So stuff. I mean, Google technologies are very, very wide and diverse, aren't they? So we try to have a taste of everything.
About stuff. I switched over just because of the licenses, so they're the Google Domains. So some the trial program. Domain name sign up, registration. Just move away from name choosing. Other than just build something, I guess. I've played a little bit.
Next Wednesday. Next Wednesday is breaking board, which is the education workshop.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I saw the business to like use in-house direct competitions and none of them are it's just have the I mean, okay, they say, okay, we've always had this law, so okay, was it like sense?
That's how I used to all those methodologies. And that was his contract, so then I was going to so I was working my own, like, and I was systematic work. So
for next week, there's
so what happens, like the web, not
Florian, before you run away, I've just realized I haven't been giving out any of the toys, and half of them have left. So when you take some of the toys.
Oh, it's very close to it, but with PF and our web ontology language. So it's
yeah, they are always overwhelming, aren't they?
I've got like
I know I'm going to get this.
Great. So we'll go for just a second. Right, something else carrying on with my toys. Everyone else.
Actually, one extra for the guys.
Yep, if you were seeing them, yes, please do.
I'll take it into the office to look at them.
How many do you need?
Two guys.
I know.
Yeah.
I do look a bit like
Hey. Oh, you're on both sides of all, are you? Yes, indeed.
I am the colleague.
Let me just give this just Yeah, there you go. Enjoy. Sorry.
Retail stores that are trying to
Yes, yes.
share their product catalogs.
Right, fantastic. Okay. Okay, I think it's time to stop this because this is just not working.